You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any new callers. One of the things, and this was recommended by whom again? Jared, the Uber driver. Not a terrible idea. Rather than just skipping calls, I can utilize the help of AI and the transcripts that they give me here to kind of maybe lump a couple things together. And, I can skip anything that's irrelevant, but also maybe without playing the call, still answer a couple callers' questions, comments, concerns, whatever. We'll give that a shot if that happens to happen. But for now, we're just going to rip through the calls that are recent. If there's time at the end, we'll try that. We'll see how it goes. Let's get started here with Daniel from California. What's up, man?
You know, man, I usually don't come in hot and, with all this, but I'm really, kind of frustrated with this freaking franchise. Yeah, there's all this unnecessary drama about, how the LaFleur thing's all handled, but you know what? They try to operate everything close to the vest, and, there might be some sort of strategic advantage, right? Don't share your scouting information. That makes sense, but... you guys, keep everybody in the dark on everything, and then you get people like Rob Demovsky losing their crap because, you guys don't know.
Right.
Yeah, we don't know because this isn't a transparent organization.
And that is a fair point that I've kind of made in the past as far as, I'm going to speculate, and I'm going to just say things, and I'm going to do this stuff, and sometimes you hear players get all, what a stupid, they think, da-da-da-da-da. Listen, we're all going based off the best information that we have. Now, again, I'm on a warpath to try to make sure that we hone in and make sure we actually understand what the information is so that we're at least using the correct information when we do this to try to be as accurate as we can. But we can never be that accurate. And you're right, the less transparent you are, the more you're going to have to put up with rampant speculation. That's just part of the thing. At any point, if you're frustrated with the amount of speculation and the rumors that are swirling, you can go to the podium and lay out exactly how things went. But if you're going to refuse to do that, then yeah, you're going to have to put up with this kind of stuff.
Well, it's what the hell? It's not...
Come on back to me.
Coaching carousel is all, at the beginning of the week, it's all starting to fall into place, and we're just starting. All we need is a verbal commitment that is hey, we're gonna work out a deal. You're our guy, so your agent and my agent will work on a contract. We want you guys just be transparent. Are we behind the eight ball on the stuff? I doubt we are because this is a well-run franchise. But the way they treat everybody in the dark makes it seem like we're the Bears, and we're not. Can't we just get some more transparency and just be the coaching, we're going to have some chicks. Just do it. It's not a big deal. And they act like everything's some strategic advantage or it's the fans don't know. It's it's not worthy. It's it's not it. Just you make yourself look bad by holding everything so close to the vest. And it's unacceptable. This is not 20 years ago. Everybody else, I think it's the Bengals. The Bengals literally tell you everything, right? It's just we don't need to be that, but just don't make yourself look bad. It's we're a week behind and everybody in the franchise. Ed Policy's horrible because he can't get a deal done. It's no, they were committed to Matt. Just say it. They kept everybody in the dark because who knows why. Just say you're committed to Matt, Goody, and Russ and move on with it. That's it.
And I will say in their defense, they at some point they will make comments They haven't done that yet. So we'll see what those comments are. And I do understand not wanting to, look, what I've said before is their number one priority is not to just provide us the information that we want, every little curiosity that we have. And as far as like using the Bengals and all that as an example, I think most of the time that works against the argument because these guys say too much and they make themselves look like idiots. Look at what Buffalo just did. And again, we had somebody in the comments say, I love the transparency. Bro, you should not love that level of transparency. That's awful. And you talk about embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Professional organizations have to be very careful about what they're doing. There may be such a thing as too cautious, but I think there needs to be a balance between, maybe providing the information at some point, which again, I think they're going to do. They haven't done their press conferences and whatnot yet because they didn't have everything figured out yet. And I think the fact that they were in the process of figuring it out, and then we speculated and made some stuff up that wasn't true, and then we get mad when we get corrected. Look, we don't have to make stuff up. That's our decision to make stuff up, and to get information incorrect. And which is the other kind of important thing here is it's one thing to use the best information that we have and to apply that and to try to figure things out. And then when they do their press conference to kind of be like, okay, so this, that, or the other, whatever. And then, we'll see where we stand as far as what they say, what they don't say. I'm guessing they have no issue talking about the timeline and those kinds of things after the fact. That's not a big deal. But again, let's get the deal done first. But there's an additional issue where people make things up that isn't true and was never reported and then get mad and say that it's their fault for not telling us the truth. It's like, well, we don't have to make things up. That's not something we have to do. So I agree insofar as I've said, if we don't have information, we have no choice but to try to speculate, right? It's kind of like the coaching thing. I don't know what it's like in that building. I don't know how good of a coach Matt is or Stenovich is or Bisaccia is. I don't know any of that stuff. So, I'm going to do the best I can to try to put the pieces together just like everybody else is, and I'm going to come to a conclusion. And if you want to scoff at that, like, oh, you're so stupid. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding, I'm stupid. No kidding, because I'm not in the room with you, bro. Congratulations on being in the room and having information that I don't have. Feel free to enlighten us at any point as to what things are going on. But, they won't and they can't and they just want to scoff. But, again, at the same time, there are certain things that, again, the priority is not to run to the podium and start giving us updates on every little thing in the midst of very important negotiations with the GM and whatnot. They're going to do that. And, we can speculate, but let's not make stuff up. And then, let's give them an opportunity to get to the podium and kind of give us a little bit of a breakdown of what happened, pending on, the questions that get asked by the media folk. It is a balance, and I think there's culpability on both sides. I do think the fan base wants more transparency than they should get. They want to just know everything. And at the end of the day, that's just not how it goes. And that's not how it should go. I think they probably are a little too protective. But, again, you look at the Buffalo Bills organization, you have the GM basically doing the exact same thing the Packers do. And then you have the owner being an idiot. The GM was right. The owner was wrong, right? As much as we would love to just know the truth because we just want to know stuff. It's a terrible way to run an organization to just start running your mouth on stupid stuff like that. So, yes and no, I guess. And it depends on the context, obviously. Liz calling back. If we can get this to play, we can hear from Liz in New York. This computer's going to hell, man. Come on, baby. Come on now. Here we go.
Hi, this is Liz from upstate New York again.
Howdy.
I'm on my way to work, and I figure I'm a couple days behind on listening to some stuff, but after the Bears lost, there's a lot to catch up on here. So my first thought was, I'm listening to the calls coming in from other people and listening to your dialogue, and I've always very much dislike the Bears. But Caleb Williams takes it to another level, and I'm not sure what it is about the guy. I've never personally despised a guy on another team, but I look at his face and I just feel this rage that I've never felt before. And I think part of the reason is that the media and the fans are talking about what a god this guy is.
And he's so arrogant. Him and Ben Johnson are the most arrogant. I mean, he genuinely believes he's the greatest quarterback in NFL history. He believes that in his mind, and it does work to his advantage. It's part of the reason why he doesn't ever get down on himself. He's never felt bad about himself a day in his life. He is the embodiment of confidence, arrogance, whatever you want to call it. And it's infuriating when you're that bad and that weird and creepy, and you believe you're the greatest in the world, and everybody tells you you're great, even though you're not. It is very infuriating.
And he's not good. He's been extremely lucky. He's made some good throws. But if any of those 50-50 balls go the other way, you see him with a whole bunch of interceptions, and we're having a whole other story. And, I really wish, I get the Bears fans are excited. They haven't had a season like this in a long time. They go to the playoffs, they win a game. But it's not because of Caleb Williams.
Right.
It's because the team has been lucky. Other teams are screwing up when they're playing him, but Caleb Williams is not leading this charge and being an elite quarterback. He's just there, and he's doing just enough for them to pull off these last-minute miracles. And if somebody could say, you know what, I'm glad we did as well as we did. I hope Caleb gets more accurate. I hope he gets some more skill. He's still got a lot of developing to do. Fine. But to hear this, he's amazing. It's a franchise quarterback. He's the best thing that's ever happened. It's not true. So that's extremely frustrating. And the cockiness he carries. If you're Tom Brady, you're Aaron Rodgers, and you want to be cocky like that, which I don't think either of them were, fine. But Caleb is so cocky. What have you done, dude?
Yeah.
What have you done? You haven't done anything.
Well, and don't forget, this is the guy who, him and his dad apparently wanted, first of all, I wanted to get out of going to Chicago. They were thinking about pulling a Manning. But beyond that, wanted ownership stakes in the team that drafted them. This is how freaking arrogant they are. They wanted him to be treated as though he already had the accolades of an Aaron Rodgers, who, by the way, Aaron Rodgers wouldn't even get an ownership stake in the Green Bay Packers or whatever organization if he wanted it. It just unbelievable levels of arrogance.
You were on a team that got as many lucky breaks as possible, and you didn't screw up most of them. So that's my first thought. And the interception to the touchdown thing is a whole other story. So I haven't gotten that far ahead, but Kyle McCord. So I'm going to completely switch gears here. Kyle McCord was just signed as a backup quarterback by the Packers, and I don't know if you know much about him or you followed him and his story very much, but being in upstate New York, we're Syracuse fans, and we saw him when he came to Syracuse just completely turn that team around. I didn't watch much of Ohio State. My husband watches all the teams. I just pretty much watch Syracuse and an NFL. But the guy's got an arm, and
3-minute monster got her.
Sorry, this is Liz again. I got cut off in the middle of my spiel about Kyle McCord. I just got to say the guy's got a cannon, and I have trust in our quarterback coaches, and I have trust in our offensive coaches that they're gonna, if he's got enough talent to make it, they're gonna develop him into a decent backup. I mean, I don't know if they can do another Malik Willis. That was, I'm gonna cry thinking about that guy leaving. Malik has my heart. I mean, I'm a Jordan fan, but I mean, what a privilege when your main guy goes out to have a guy like Malik there ready to step in. I'm not saying he's going to develop into that, but I think it was a pretty good signing. It was a pretty good pickup for a minimum amount of money, and it's worth a shot to see what this kid can do. So I don't know if you're going to get into that in your later shows or if you already have. Like I said, I'm a day or two behind catching up on all these shows. But thank you again for everything you do. I love the dialogue. I love seeing what's coming next. So appreciate it. Go Pack, go.
Well, thank you, Liz. And no, I haven't talked about Kyle McCord. I didn't really think too much about it, but it is kind of interesting. If for no other reason, then the guy is a 2025 sixth-round pick. So we haven't seen anything. He played a little bit in the preseason for Philly, who is the team that drafted him. Obviously, they let him go, which is not a great sign. But, you know, I always like these really young guys that haven't done anything because you never know. But in the preseason, it didn't go super well. He was 24 of 56, which is under 43% completion rate, 191 yards, 3.4 yards per attempt, which is shockingly low. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 0 big-time throws, and 4 turnover-worthy plays. 43.1 passer rating. Now, again, it doesn't really matter, right? The preseason is essentially nothing. It's, hey, college guy, come in here, show us what you did in college and whatever. He's trying to figure out all this stuff. If they're serious about this guy, remember what happened with Jordan. They're going to break him down and build him back up the way Matt LaFleur, who is a quarterback guy, a very, very talented quarterback coach, build him up in that style. He's going to work from the ground up with the footwork, with his eyes, with his arm, with all these different things, the way that everything goes, the drop, the timing. And that's a process, and it's a project. And the Eagles apparently had no interest in putting in that amount of time in Kyle McCord. The Packers probably will. Now, you know, there's only so much time and so much space. So if they feel like, you know, he's not progressing or whatever, they may try somebody else. But they, at least for now, feel like this could be the guy, you know, that could be that next guy. As for his college stuff, I knew almost nothing about Kyle McCord, but it is pretty interesting. 3 years at Ohio State, didn't start the first 2 years. Didn't really start his final year either, but did play a decent chunk. 300 dropbacks, 354 attempts. He had a 76.4 grade. So his grades actually were 58, 73, and 76. Again, those first two he barely played, but still you can see the going upness of it. Then he goes to Syracuse, plays nearly a full season. Maybe, he did miss some time. Must have been a couple injuries mixed in, but had a 90 PFF grade. 65.5% completion rate, 4,300 yards, 7.7 yards per attempt, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 90 PFF grade, 86 passing grade, 77 rushing grade, 5.2% big-time throw rate, 3.6% turnover-worthy play rate, 2.39 second time to throw, 97.1 passer rating. So, again, don't expect immediate results here. This is a guy that's going to need to immerse himself in the Matt LaFleur school of quarterbacking. And so, you know, you can't really expect to get a good look at him in the preseason and essentially say he's the greatest or he's terrible or whatever. It's the freaking preseason, so it means almost nothing. And he does not know how to run a Matt LaFleur offense. So you kind of have to give him until that amount of time to be able to determine if he can be a good backup or not. And again, whether or not he'll even get that amount of time is kind of dependent on the progress that he makes or doesn't make, and if there's any other prospects that they like more. But for now, that is the next project, so we'll see how it goes. Appreciate the call. Okay, we'll take a break, and then we got the legend, Chris from Alabama.
What's going on, Ryan? Chris from Alabama,
What's
man.
up, dude?
Just got through listening to the Packernet After Dark episode from today. Well, it might have been for last night. Oh, boy. Okay. I would like to call and just apologize for the rant. I did not mean to offend anyone or anybody, and I probably know I did. Therefore, I'm going to call and say that I apologize. I really thought that call was going to get skipped when I heard the Packernet Out the Guard earlier this week. I think it was Monday's episode when he was like, okay, we got the news and all these calls were skipped. So if you got more, I was like, yes, they're not going to play that because that's going to be crazy. And then when I heard my call, I'm like, I ain't called in after I heard the first call saying I'm glad you skipped. Then when I heard it again, I'm like, wait, I ain't called in no more. So when I heard if this is not an issue, just skip this call, I was like, oh no. I was like, oh no, it's getting played. But yeah, man, it's all love, man. Hey, it's all love. I get heated sometimes, man. I get hype, I get heated, and I can go overboard at times. So I just want to apologize for the rant. The rant is irrelevant now because we got the coach. We trying to find a DC. It's time to focus on trying to get better. At the end of the day, that's all what we all want. At the end of the day, we might have different ways of going about handling it or saying things, you know, in certain type of ways. But at the end of the day, everybody here, sports team, even though we got difference of opinion, that's, you know, that's just life. Everybody's going to have a different opinion. Ain't nobody going to agree with someone all the time. And sometimes you go overboard. Sometimes you be calm. You know, things happen. But I do want to apologize about the rant. The song, man, is it on, like, I ain't got Spotify. I got Tidal. I don't know if you know what that is. Kind of a music app. I do have Amazon Music. I need to download that and put that on my playlist. That song was fire. I'll give you that. That song was definitely fire. But yeah, that's all I was calling in to say, man. I was like, holy crap, man. I done went all the way off the rails with that one, man. I thought you were going to stand like, I'm not playing this. There's too many cussing words in here, and I'm not playing it. But it got played. But yeah, man. Go Pack Go, man. It's all love over here, man. Once again, I apologize for the rant. No offense to nobody. Go Pack Go, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Well, I think agree or disagree as far as your opinion on things. I think everybody would agree that was one of the most epic, at least epic rants. If you don't want to call it one of the most epic calls, it was certainly the most epic rant I think we've ever had on the show. That was I couldn't stop laughing, man. That was hilarious. Yeah, I know I keep saying it. I got to get these songs uploaded or whatever. I don't know if that one. So a couple of them are not going to go up because I'm not sure about the whole copyright thing, and I'm just not sure, you know, how that would go if I get in trouble or whatever because they're so similar of, you know, the other songs. And then that one with all the language, I don't know. But Chris, if you want to send me your email or something, I could just send that MP3 to you and you can just have that song. So since it is your song, like I said, reach out, give me an email. I don't think it'll work as a text through here, and I don't think I can send it on X, but an email will work. So alrighty, Dakota, what's going on, dude?
Hey, Ryan, this is Dakota, that nerd in Tennessee.
How you been, dude?
And I just listened to this latest Packernet After Dark, and Chris, buddy, man, I feel you. I enjoyed that severely, and thank you for that rant and those 4 calls. It was something I needed. One reason being that I completely agree. I didn't see anybody better. I did see us pulling, somebody wanted Mike, this dude on Twitter. I do all that fighting on Twitter.
Yeah.
Dude on Twitter, keeps talking about he wants Mike Tomlin. Why? What?
Right.
No, I'm not going to do it. You already did it. You did it better than I could ever do, dude. And that saying, I will forever, that's going on a T-shirt, man.
Yeah, that should
that's
be a
going
T-shirt.
On a T-shirt. Anyway, we'll have one thing about Matt LaFleur that and to be honest, I don't even know who's over it anymore because Ed Policy's thinking about changing the dynamic back to the GM being over the head coach and the head coach being over the coordinators. And, either way, I want Beauty back, obviously. I want Matt LaFleur back, obviously. Sad that Hafley's gone. But, I mean, hopefully it happens. Hopefully I pull a Chris and I say this and then it happens and then this is played. Then that would be great. But, Adam Stenavich, I don't even know what he does, to be honest.
Yeah.
He might not be bad, but I think it could be better to inject some newness into the offensive coordinator position. Rich Bisaccia needed to be gone yesterday. Shoot, pull up one of our dang special teams players. I don't care. Somebody with a little bit of knowledge. I mean, and I don't even dislike him. We're just like special teams cursed on this team. I would like to see some newness there. The one coordinator position I did not want to see go obviously left.
Yeah.
And then we got folks over here. Let's hire Raheem Morris. Come on, dude. Raheem Morris. That is hiring Joe Barry all over again. That is a recycled coach. And I'm trying not to cuss. I think Chris pulled all the cuss words out of what's allowed on him. But Raheem Morris is a recycled coach. Joe Barry was a recycled coach. I do not want a recycled coach. Because what's going to happen is they're going to be good for 1 year maybe, and then there's going to be a decline, and then they're going to suck for 3 or 4 years before they're fired.
Yeah.
And it's what happens. But anyway, 3 minutes is coming up, y'all. Peace out.
Yeah, I'm trying not to have too definitive of an opinion because these things always go weird. You know, the guy that we think is the perfect fit ends up, you know, like Zach Orr in Baltimore. That was like the guy. Not to say he can't be a good defensive coordinator, but it did not go well at all in Baltimore. You just never know. Like I've said before, like Pettin was the perfect hire. That didn't go very well. You never really know, so I'm trying to keep a somewhat open mind, but there's a couple guys that I'm not feeling it. Gannon is one that it seems like the Packers are pushing pretty hard for Gannon. I think I don't know. If I had to guess today who our defensive coordinator is going to be, and this is we're, 20% or something, but I would say it's Gannon. And then the Raheem Morris thing, I would put him next on the list of most likely. And I also am kind of, again, trying not to have too definitive of an opinion, but I just, there's so many exciting prospects and people that are exciting for different reasons. And those guys, they don't have as many reasons. Not that, it's a responsibility to make me excited. But I don't know, man. I feel like there's got to be better. And I hope they do something better. And I hope that it works out because, Gannon, first of all, his entire reputation was based off of 1 year. You know what I mean? And it was a defense that went on to continue being good after he was gone. And, I don't know. I just, and then he was such a failure as a head coach and his defense wasn't very good. And then there's that clip going around that put me completely off, which I forgot about. This super cringy clip. I'll play it for tomorrow's podcast. It's easier to see on video than audio, obviously, but it is so awkward, him trying to get his group motivated. It is the most weak, pathetic thing I've ever seen. And the thought of him, as opposed to a guy like Al Harris, and I'm not even 100% on Al Harris. I mean, he's I don't know, probably at the bottom of the top 5, in my opinion. But I'd be tempted to put him, Harris above him. I don't know. Randy in Minnesota, what's up?
Hi, Ryan. Randy in Minnesota. I just got done listening to Chris from Alabama. Brother, you said it perfectly. Keep up the thought, man. You said it. All these people are whining and complaining about the Packers. No, you haven't gone through the bad years. Chris, you might be closer to my age. I remember 70s and 80s just hoping we might win 4 or 5 games and going 5, 6 years without beating the Bears. Yeah, let's enjoy what we got. I am so sick of everybody saying, oh, we got to get rid of. I was happy. I didn't say it before, but I'm happy we kept Matt and we're keeping the team together. I'm really happy we're keeping Russ Ball. I think it's important. But, Chris, thank you so much. You said it all. You said it perfectly. And just keep it up, man. Love it. Ryan, go Pack, go. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be launching several new podcasts here. We're going to have Thoughts with Beer Cheese and Chris from Alabama rants. Don't know the titles yet. I'm making that up, but honestly, it's I do love how everybody's, I don't know, got a pretty solid following now and their own personalities and whatnot. Although that was a new one for Chris. It's funny, I was getting messages from people talking about how we broke Chris, we ruined him, we turned him evil. Now we get evil Chris. Oh, it's all good stuff. All right, let's take our final break. We'll come back. We got Nico from Idaho.
Hey Ryan, how you doing? This is Nico here, just kind of
howdy,
chilling here in my house. I'm actually flying out to California this Friday. I've always watched dirt bike racing, supercross, motocross, and we're into round 3. It's kind of cool because right when football ends, supercross is started. So
sure, of course,
it gives me another sport to watch.
Everybody knows that.
That I also love. Used to ride dirt bikes as a kid when I was young and made of plastic and wouldn't break in half if I just laid a bike over. But so I'm just chilling, doing some dishes, doing the girl stuff that your wife likes you to do when she's not around.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say this. It took, 3-4 years? I think we finally met Chris of Alabama. It's funny because I'm on the one side going, we don't need no rah-rah, dum-dum. I was just thinking when I called earlier the other day, I was like, I'm some 50-something-year-old dude who, I play video games online. I'll be playing one of my video games, and my team will be behind, and we'll have a certain amount of time, and I don't need a guy to pause the game and motivate me. I could do that myself. I'm not a professional football player. So I'm the guy going, all these freaking millionaire babies, they don't even know rah-rah guy. They should do that themselves. Well, the truth is, sometimes they can't. But then on the other hand, Chris got me all fired up. Thank you, Chris. I tell you, I used to live in Alabama, Atmore, Alabama, Bruton, Alabama. Fried catfish, cheese grits, But I just thank you, Chris. I feel like you're my brother now, right? That's great. Hey, go Pack. Let me just quote Chris. Oh, motherfucking Pack, go!
Chris, you got yourself a cult following here. Peter Thomas, by the way, I was meaning to say I'm glad you called in. I'm not a stalker, but my wife is. Congratulations. We saw you you had your baby. Everything looks good on that end. Hopefully everybody's doing good. I guess she had to run over. Look who had a baby. So again, it's not me. She's the stalker.
Hey Ryan, it's Peter Thomas.
What's up, dude?
From Milwaukee. Hey man, hope you're doing well. Just listened to the podcast After Dark with Chris from Alabama, and man, that was a rant, my friend. Got me jacked. And then I think he was thinking exactly what we were all thinking. Yeah, that song, you paired up Disturbed, Down with the Sickness with Tupac. Freaking genius, man. I think I've been listening to that on repeat for the last 5 or 6 minutes.
That's awesome.
It's amazing, man. All right, take care. Yeah, Matt LaFleur is the new head coach. So, well, we kept the same head coach. Anyways, man, glad we retained him. All right, peace.
Yep. I appreciate you, and I hope you guys are all doing well over there. Make sure if you have an opportunity, I know we did, to go see the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra. It's very much worth your time. I'm looking forward to doing that again sometime very, very soon if we get the opportunity. Bill from South Carolina.
Hey, Ryan, this is Bill in South Carolina. How's it going? Just wanted to call and give a shout out to Chris from Alabama on the best call ever. I live in South Carolina, but I was born and raised in North New Jersey, so it's my birthright for every other word that comes out of my mouth to be an expletive.
Mm-hmm.
I censor it for, for the for the Packer podcast, but Chris from Alabama, that was on point. Also, I would love for somebody to pull up next to LaFleur and him booming the song that you played after that podcast. That would be fantastic. All right, nothing about the Pack, but that was a great call, Chris. Yeah, that was awesome. Very, very proud from a New Jerseyan to an Alabamian. Very proud of that. Later.
I feel like I should have Chris here. I don't know what else to say to that about the Chris thing. I should just have him answer these calls. Chris, have a seat, man.
Hey, Ryan. This is Ray from Tennessee. You don't have to play this on Packernet After Dark if you don't want to, but I was just calling because I was listening to your episode from today where you were talking about the report that Jim Leonard never got offered the job from the Packers. The original story was from Jason Wilde, and they talked about it on the Wilde and Tausch on ESPN Wisconsin show today, where today is Wednesday, where Jason Wilde, when he wrote that story, he quoted Jim Leonard directly because he spoke with him. Like they were talking money, they were talking what kind of deal they would need to make. And then ultimately he decided to go back to Wisconsin, probably because he thought he was going to get the Badgers head coaching job. But it was under Jason Wilde's impression that if Matt LaFleur and Leonard were talking money, that would mean a job was being offered. No, maybe that doesn't mean that they formally said, hey, we're going to give you this much money. Do you want to be our defensive coordinator? But, you know, at least that's what they talked about today. So you could look into that.
Sure.
At least that gives you a place to start. And we'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I did see a little clip of that. I mean, it was actually the same clip, but you know, he was talking about, I think it was Tausch was saying, "Oh, that was your report," and Wilde was like, "No, that was Tom Silverstein, and I reported on whatever." But yeah, I mean, I didn't see that part where they were talking money, and I don't know exactly what that means. I would be of the same opinion that it probably means. I mean, you're relatively. I'm guessing you don't talk money on every single interview. There would at least be like the second interview. You know, you'd want to have some kind of a conversation or understanding of where we're at financially and whether we want to make a deal. So I would think money would come into play before an offer, but that might be, you know, we might be kind of splitting hairs there, where it's like, you know, assuming we can come to an agreement on a price, we'll have a deal. In other words, it's probably true that a formal offer was never made. Assuming they're talking money, it's also probably true that he would have been the guy offered the job had he not withdrew from consideration, is kind of what it sounds like, just trying to piece all this together. And I think some other people have kind of alluded to that too, as far as, okay, he didn't formally get the job or get an offer, but he was the guy that they wanted, kind of thing. So I don't really know. I know when I was talking about it, it was kind of beside the point, just as another example of, you know, us kind of misunderstanding and then drawing up conclusions of things based on half-truth, false information, partial information, whatever the case may be. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. As of right now, there's nothing on Jim Leonard. I think it was Wilde was talking about, he's of the opinion that they do want to interview him, but he can't interview, which I think is only partially true. They can't do in person, but they can do virtual. He's already done, I believe, multiple virtual interviews. And it's my understanding that he has done 0 virtual interviews with the Green Bay Packers. So I don't know if there was like a window to do that, maybe that LaFleur missed because, you know, they weren't looking at that time, possibly. I'm not really sure. You know, maybe that was like prior to the playoffs in that for a week or something. I have no idea, but we'll see. Again, Wildy is of the opinion that once the playoffs are concluded or whatever, that they would. The problem is you're missing out on candidates. We already lost one now. The Eagles pass game coordinator has signed with Dallas. So if you're waiting around for people, you're going to end up missing opportunities, which is why I think the virtual thing is in place. Let me just look real quick, because for the 2026 hiring cycle, the NFL has strict rules designed to slow down the process and prevent coaches from being distracted by travel while preparing for playoff games. The core rule is that the initial interviews with coaches on teams still in the playoffs must be virtual and are subject to specific time windows. The virtual-only rule: if a coach is currently employed by a team still playing in the postseason, all initial interviews must be conducted via video calls, Zoom, Teams, etc. No in-person contact is allowed at this stage. Virtual sessions are capped at a maximum of 3 hours. Teams cannot interview a coach until at least 3 days have passed since the coach's last game. This ensures they focus on the current playoff responsibilities immediately following the matchup. Okay, so he can do virtual interviews. And again, Green Bay has not, to my knowledge, or to anybody else's knowledge that's been able to report it, reached out to Jim Leonard. So that just may not be a thing. And until it becomes a thing, especially since it's virtual, you know what I mean? And maybe some of these other ones have been virtual. I don't know definitively that everybody else has been flown out to Green Bay in person. I would assume that that's exactly what they did, but it could be virtual. But considering this has to be virtual, it would be so low friction. You know, you have to make a decision. At least get that first interview with Jim Leonard if you're actually genuinely interested in him. That way, if you are or aren't or whatever the case is, unless you're just positive you're going after Jim Leonard or something, I don't know. But, maybe you don't want to do that initial interview because you don't want to, scare people into, panicking and trying to hire them, or hope that they go hire away somebody else or whatever because you really want them as some tactical thing. Otherwise, I don't know why you wouldn't do an interview with Jim Leonard. All that to say, until something further materializes, I don't think I'm going to dig too much more into this Jim Leonard thing. I just, again, that wasn't really the point of me bringing it up anyways, so I'm not as worried about it. All right, I'll tell you what, let's wrap it up here for today. Appreciate all the callers. Obviously appreciate Chris from Alabama. That was, the majority of the calls were anyways very much deserved. I don't think I'm going to do a song today. I just I don't have anything off the top of my mind right now, and trying to get some other stuff done. Plus, I didn't have time to get Packernet After Dark last night, which upsets me because you spend so much time working on little things like songs and whatnot that you kind of think, if I hadn't been screwing around for so long, I probably could have had time. But with that, I'll leave it at that, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.